So RDMA is a feature of some modern networking hardware. RDMA actually stands for Remote Direct Memory Access. And so as the name suggests, this feature enables a computer to directly access the memory of a remote computer. And here directly means without involving the CPU of the remote machine, and also without involving the kernel of either side, either the local or the remote side.
This is Dr. Igor Zablotchi, who recently graduated from the IT school at EPFL. In his PhD thesis, Igor developed new algorithms to harness the potential of RDMAs.
So RDMA has been around actually for quite a long time, for decades, but its use has been restricted to some specialized use cases such as high-performance computing, inside supercomputers and so on. But in more recent years, it has been adopted by the distributed computing community because it has some nice applications.
These applications exploit the specific features of RDMAs.
First of all, it's quite fast. So the latency that you can expect with RDMA is around 1 microsecond and bandwidth around in the hundreds of gigabits per second. But more than this, it has this direct memory access. The semantics of direct memory access are interesting in their own right, and we've shown that it can have some nice properties, some nice outcomes.
To show this, Igor and his collaborators first provided a theoretical analysis of RDMAs.
On the theory front, we took RDMA and we modeled it, and the model is called MNM. And MNM stands for message and memory, because RDMA, like I said, it has these this direct memory access semantics. So you can think of it as allowing processes to communicate by sharing memory, by using a common memory space. But at the same time, you can also send conventional messages over the network with RDMA.
Typically in your work, you're probably using different kinds of tools to communicate with your collaborators. On one hand, you can call collaborators on Zoom or Jitsi. This corresponds to message passing. But you can also use a Google Doc or a Novoleaf, which you can think of as a memory space that you and your collaborators share. And I'm going to guess that you're probably using both with your collaborators. Well, if so, then what you're doing is what the model of Igor and his collaborators capture.
So we created this model, the MNM model, and we have shown some interesting properties that the model has compared to the message passing model or the shared memory model.
So what properties are we talking about?
RDMA enables fundamentally more efficient algorithms that are also at the same time more robust to failures.
Wait, what is meant by failures?
So we are considering two kinds of faults. Both of these are standard in distributed computing. We are considering crash faults, where a machine can simply stop functioning and crash, essentially, so it never participates in the protocol again. And we also consider Byzantine faults, where a machine can deviate arbitrarily from the protocol. This can be either because it's malfunctioning or because it's controlled by some malicious entity.
But why is that? How can this improve upon previous theoretical results?
In theory, we were able to show that for the consensus problem, for instance, with RDMA, you can solve the consensus problem using fewer communication steps and while tolerating more failures than the message passing model or the shared memory model.
Okay, I'm going to speculate a little bit here, but it's almost as though Igor's research was explaining the importance of the invention of writing for civilizations, as claimed by many anthropologists. Writing enables you to more reliably process and store information, and at least from my experience, what I write on a Google Doc is usually much more reliable than what I say on Zoom.
Each one of the two modes of communication has its own benefits, and these kind of add up. So message passing has the benefit of efficiency. So if you think about it, if we exchange messages, it's a more efficient way of communication than writing. Like if I have to write something down and you have to read it, this takes more time than me just telling you, right? So message passing comes with efficiency, and shared memory comes with robustness. Because here again, if we communicate using messages, the adversary has the power to delay or delete some messages maybe, So it can create partitions between correct processes, right? So you need more processes to be sure that the end goal of the algorithm is reached. Whereas with shared memory, once you write something, it's there forever. And the adversary cannot prevent the correct process from coming and reading and seeing what they wrote.
But interestingly, Igor's research suggests that to progress effectively, we still need to rely on Zoom or even, if possible, on actual physical meetings.
So if we can combine these, then this is how we get more efficient and more robust algorithms.